What is happening, fishing friends? Welcome to another episode. Now, I got my monster bass box here, but we're not doing any old just take the stuff out and tell you what it is. You can go online and see that. We're going to take the stuff out of here, and I'm going to tell you ways that I use these differently. So not just like, oh, throw this on a Ned Rig. A different way to use this that really works that I don't think enough people try. Some of them I'm even going to give you a little hint on modifying this, changing it up just a little bit. And then talk about some lures in between that'll do a whole bunch of everything. So enough yapping, let's get into it. Starting with the first plastic in the box, the KVD Super Fry. Now, if you've never tried one of these, cool little bait. You can tell I'm a fan of this color. What is it? Little triple magic. 4.5-inch ring fry worm that I typically throw on a wacky rig. Pick your brand, doesn't matter, they're all very similar. This type of wacky hook, of course, I would use an O-ring on here to make your plastic last longer, but something like this, you can rig it top up so they see that when it's coming down. You can rig it the other way. But anyway, something like this, when you pop that wacky rig, man, it really entices them. But even the wacky rig hooks like this that have like the little wire deal here, they're not very weedless. And if you're bank fishing, my little hack to fish these different is to grab one of these. I can't remember if this is an Owner or Gamakatsu. A bunch of different places make this. This one's actually kind of cool because the lead weight slides, so you can position it where you want, but it's a screw lock nose. So put that in there and just screw it on. Get it like that so it's all the way down in there right to the ring, and then take this, just like you would your Texas rig, and the little rings on there make it nice and weedless. Now you ask, well, why couldn't I just do like a regular Texas rig? Well, with the Texas rig, of course, it's going to fall nose down, and with no appendages or anything, this is going to shoot straight down. That's why I like a light wacky rig, because, you know, it kind of falls down slow. Well, with this, you get kind of the best of both worlds. Completely weedless, so it doesn't matter if you're going over brush and stuff. As a bank angler, we always appreciate that. But the weight is down here, so it's going to fall more like this and kind of have a shimmy in the tail. Just a different look. I first saw this, it was actually from Strike King. They called it the Rage Rig, and I used to fish my Rage Craws this way. Great for that vertical presentation where you want the lure to still lay horizontal and not attack them this way, straight down. So if you've never tried a belly-weighted screw-in hook like that, give that a try on these little dudes. Oh, and I go with just a regular wire hook. You don't want to go too heavy. I would throw this on like a medium power bait casting setup. It works awesome, like a little 16th or 8th ounce. Oh, next up, we got one of old Uncle Debo's favorites, the Strike King Rodent. Little 4-inch. This thing does so much. If you've never seen one, I'm a huge fan of beavers. Love me some beavers. This one, flip and pitch it around wood. In the really thick stuff, it goes straight down and comes out because there's not a bunch of crazy appendages here. That's what the beaver baits are really good for. Of course, you would take these tail piece here, pull those apart, and it also looks like a craw. You could fish it on a wobble head, all kinds of normal things that people do. Normal folks would use this as a jig trailer. This is a different color, the Big Texan or something, but rip the appendages off, and I just have kind of the two flappy things. That's the War Eagle Jiu-Jitsu. Looks awesome as a trailer on there, but remove the arms. Grab your scissors, enjoy arts and crafts time, and carefully cut down the middle. Now, any sane person would be like, Debo, why in the heck are you doing this? Well, maybe you're a bank angler and you carry less tackle. You want to have things that can do a bunch of different stuff. Well, now you've just made a little 4-inch drop shot bait. But of course, I'm not really a drop shot guy. Would I be giving you drop shot tips? No. Pinch just the front of it off where it's kind of thin. Thread it on there nice and straight, and you've got a sneaky little chatterbait trailer that nobody talks about. Now, listen, I wish I could take credit for this. It does have a really cool look to it. Nice vibration in the water, but guys were doing this with the Mike Iaconelli Devil Spear. It was a weird looking, like, ridged rodent kind of bait. I don't even know how you'd explain it. I'll put a picture up of it, but guys were taking those and cutting them in half and using them as chatterbait trailers. So that's where I got the idea for this from. There's a bunch of different things you can do it. I was doing it one day when I just had some Reaction Innovation sweet beavers, but this is another great one to try it with. Again, the tail, there's no action back here on its own. It's working with the chatterbait and vibrating back and forth. So if you're in a pinch, don't have any chatterbait trailers, you can always reach to one of your beaver baits. All right, they hit us. This was, did you notice this was the Strike King Takeover box? It was actually a sick little box that Monster Bass put out. A bunch of good lures that I use. This one happens to be another one, the Caffeine Shad. Now, I don't use the Caffeine Shad as much. Great lure, but you know, it's essentially your fluke type lure. This one's nice because it's got the straight tail. It does have, you know, the regular cut open belly on it and everything. I usually throw a Zoom Fluke more, but I've tried these more the past few years and really liked them because, again, they're one that I hadn't thrown a lot. So, Fluke, you can throw it weightless, throw it on a Texas rig, there's a donkey rig, all the different things. But what I like a Fluke for is when you want to add a little bulk or even weight. Say I had a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait. It's a little bit windy. I'm fishing from the bank. I want to reach just a little bit farther. A soft plastic as a trailer adds a little bit more. Now, this is one of the Berkley Power Blades, one of their new spinnerbaits. You have to pick a spinnerbait that has a soft plastic keeper like that. Run it up on there. And you have an awesome spinnerbait trailer. The thing with a lot of paddle tails is you can use paddle tails on a spinnerbait, but sometimes they'll kick and they'll make your spinnerbait like keel one side or the other so it doesn't run straight. The fluke doesn't have any sort of action to it. It's not moving the bait back and forth. It works completely with it, straight on there like that. You can see the bulk it adds to it, you know, just in the middle here, instead of that being, you know, see-through with just the skirt. It adds bulk in the middle. It bulks up the profile a little bit. So when would you do this? Well, for muddier water. Again, like I said, if you want to add a little bit of casting distance, if you notice they just feel like they've been kind of coming up and thumping it, it just gives a little bit better profile to it. You can even cut off the tip of this a little bit if you wanted to bring that kind of up on the hook more. But a fluke works as an awesome spinnerbait trailer. Back in the day, we used to throw those little V-tail deals, or Dad and I would throw a ribbon tail worm on the back of here that would have just a little bit of movement. But I love a fluke on the back of a spinnerbait as my plastic. Or if you've never tried the fluke on the back of a chatterbait, this is the jackhammer, you are missing out. One of the coolest, like low profile, not anything crazy movement on the back of a chatterbait. So adding the fluke on the back of one of these, awesome trailer option. Oh, and I completely forgot to tell you, I do have a discount code over at Monster Bass. I think it's like 20% off, I want to say. I'll leave that linked below. It doesn't work on like the actual monthly subscription, but if you get like a one-off box or anything out of the store, you know, some of these flukes or whatever, you can use that code and get money off. So yeah, check that out, it helps. Okay, next up, oh yeah, this is the Strike King Takeover. I forgot they put the Thunder Cricket in here. Awesome little vibrating jig if you've never used it. This does have the jungle flip and hook on it. Nice heavy duty setup here. It's got the little soft plastic keeper there, the wire on the back of it. The head is kind of interesting because the head, right there, you can see where it attaches. This pivots, so that's unique to the Thunder Cricket. Does it make a difference? Heck, I don't know. But one thing that I forgot to tell you was, so just to reiterate the coolness of this hack, throw that on there. Now, one thing I will point out that I didn't talk about on the other one is you want the flat side down. Now, again, I can't take credit for this. This was actually 10 Horse Monty. Go check out his channel. Good dude. He's been on a few lives of mine. He talked about using baits like the rodent, or whatever the one is like the rodent that has the two kicky things in back. It's eluding me now. Something like this, the old Chunky D, that has a flat bottom to it on the bottom of your trailer. So that way, when you come up over logs and wood and stuff, it has a tendency to sit with that flat side down so you don't get hung up as much. Of course, with an open hook, that's always a risk, but having something flat on there, you notice even here, and it could bend over either way, but it tends to run straight on there. So think 10 horse for that. I guess that's my little tip I'll give you here. Throw your rodent on there. Just make sure you go flat side down so it tends to run up and stay upright and not get snagged like when it falls over. I'll be honest, they threw another jig in here. This is the Hack Attack jig that is 1.25 ounces. That thing is a beastly punching jig. Listen, punching is not my my area of expertise. I don't really have anything on here to make this better. Look at the hook it's got on this thing. My golly, we're going out super bass fishing. But anyway, one tip I can give you with your jigs is to V the weed guard. Take your weed guard like that, so that way when you come up over brush and such, a V'd out weed guard tends to keep that hook protected a little bit more as opposed to keeping it just straight on. That's one thing I pretty much do with all my jigs. I know that's something that some people talk about and other folks have never heard it, especially if you're new to bass fishing. Take your skirt, spread it out and kind of V it out in front. That way if it rolls over, it still stays pretty weedless. Last up in the box, we've got a couple of hard baits. Now it comes with the stickers and all that, but so a hard bait, how in the heck could I change a 2.5 KVD, one of the most popular crankbaits out there, for good reason. They're awesome little crankbaits. I do like the 2.5s. I throw them a bit as a bank angler, a little bit heavier, a little bit larger profile, especially if you're in dirtier water. Now, the hooks that come on these, I feel like they've gotten better on the 2.5s. I feel like they used to be pretty crummy. I don't know if they've switched hooks or something, but they're not as light a wire. Now, these aren't, you know, crazy heavy wire, but they're the short shank rounded hooks. Now, what I would tell you to check out is some of these, a short shank EWG hook. This is a size 2. One thing you can actually do with an EWG is oftentimes bump up in size. So I could probably go to a size 1. That might be what these are. Yeah, those very well could be a size 1 hook on there, so I should probably bump up, but this is what I happen to have right here. You can see how short the shank is. That's what they're referring to, is this piece here, that little short shank. Now I've got some Gamakatsu EWG trebles, but these are not short shank. There's your lesson for the day. Exact same size 2 hook, but you can see how much larger that Gamakatsu is being a regular shanked hook versus the short shank on the KVD triple grip. Grab your favorite pair of split ring pliers. I happen to like these Texas Tackle. They have worked really well for me. Get that one started. Put your triple grip on there as well, and with just a little camera magic and turning of these, one comes off and your triple grip stays on. So you can see the size difference. Yeah, these must be size 1, but oh, look at that. I don't like when that happens. Same thing on the front. Give it a couple twists. And there you have it. Go into the smaller hook, that EWG style. It's not going to catch up there on the bill, and it's a lot more weedless. As a bank angler, when you're coming up and over stuff, an EWG hook like this doesn't get caught up nearly as much having those little hook ends turned up versus having them all down and straight out like this. Not a big change, but for you bank anglers out there, if you're trying to fish this around wood, it's not like when you're in a boat, you get this stuck and you can just troll over to it and pop it out. These will help you bank anglers stay out of that stuff a little bit more. And generally with a square bill, they're attacking it. They're hitting it hard. So an EWG hook, I don't feel like you lose a lot of fish. You know, with a round bend hook like this, you do have a little bit better hookup ratio. You know, they can swipe at it and still just barely get caught. But as a bank angler keeping your lure, I mean, can't catch a fish unless you got that lure tied on, right? Okay, the last hard bait that we have, arguably one of the best lipless crankbaits on the market, the Strike King Red Eye Shed. Now we're also going to change this, but we're going to add a little bling to it. I grabbed these at Shields in the clearance rack, 50% off, so it was $2 for these, which is a great deal considering normally they're $6 for the pack. Grab my split ring pliers, do the exact same trick I just showed you. That one comes off, that one stays on. And now you've got the bladed hybrid on here. This VMC hook has that bling back there. So it's a nice little blade on a swivel, and I upped this to a size 3. These come stock with size 4 on it. This shorter shank, EWG hook, you can see they use like a resin back there to protect that end. And then this is on a swivel so this can spin. So if you're like, oh man, should I throw a lipless? Should I throw an underspin? This kind of gives you the flash of that, which is really nice. So if you're yo-yoing this, ripping it up and letting it fall down, you've got that flash back there. Kind of gives them something to look at, especially if they're just coming up and swiping at it. Adds that little bit of difference to it. I like it. I know a lot of people like putting one of these on to get a little bit of flash out of their crankbaits, and I don't hear a ton of people talking about it. Does it make a huge difference? I don't know, maybe not, but if it gets me 2 more bites, one of those could be my PB. All right, fishing friends, again, that was the Strike King Takeover box from Monster Bass. Comment below and let me know which one of these hacks or tricks or tips did you like most. Maybe adding a little bit different plastic as a trailer? Maybe you like the hard baits and you want to mess around with changing your trebles out a little bit more. Comment below and let me know, because I look at all the comments. Folks like Mr. Patrick Boyle, 451 comments, one of the top commenters on my channel, just commented on a live stream I did, and I appreciate the heck out of all of you. I would not be here if it wasn't for all of you watching my videos, watching me talk about plastics and lures, doing all this stuff. Every time I see a video and everybody that's watched it, again, it always humbles me. So I thank you all so much. It's late. I got to go edit all this, and man, spring is coming. I want to go fishing. So again, thank you all for watching. Until next time.